Hi, it's Mark Helfman. It's March 9, 2020. This video goes out to all the people who subscribe to my newsletter, Crypto is Easy. If you're not subscribed and you're watching this video, I don't know how you found it. I'm glad you did. There's a link to the newsletter down in the description below. Please feel free to check it out. If it looks like something you're interested in subscribing to, go ahead and subscribe. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel. I don't plan to grow it as an entity, but I will post videos to this YouTube channel because it's a very easy way for me to get information out. So it's a challenging time for all markets. I actually had prepared a video to go on March 5th, and I was hoping to release it today, but with everything that happened this weekend, I felt like I really needed to do a new one. If you hear any ambient noise in the background, so I'm recording from a room in my house, and sometimes we're on the flight path from the capital to Camp David. We also get a few military aircraft that zoom by sometimes, so you may hear something in the background. Hopefully it's not distracting. Today I wanted to talk about my investment thesis for Bitcoin and give you a little of my market analysis for what's going on right now. It's tough, but if you're in Bitcoin, the dips and swings don't really seem significant. I mean, we go through a 10%, 20%, 30% crash seemingly all the time. And in fact, if you look at every bull market Bitcoin has had, there have been multiple 30, 40% corrections in every year that Bitcoin was in a bull market. So I think sometimes it becomes easy to kind of brush these things off as, well, it's just Bitcoin. And maybe this time it will be, but not all dips are created equally. And there are some important things that I think you should be aware of. It doesn't change my investment thesis around Bitcoin, but you know, it's if you're going to put your money into anything, or even if it's just your thoughts and your time into anything, it helps to be as informed and aware of what's going on as possible. That's how you make the best decisions. So there are a few things that I'll show you in terms of the price of Bitcoin right now and how the markets are moving that may be really interesting. First, I want to talk about my investment thesis around Bitcoin. And when I say investment thesis, that simply means the rationale or justification for putting money into Bitcoin, investing into Bitcoin, and the emotional investment that goes along with that. As an investor, you always want to be really grounded. And if you're going to put time and effort and money into something, you want to make sure you know or have a sense of an educated guess, I guess, of how you expect to play out. And have some really grounded, fact-based justification for taking the step of putting your time and money and effort into something. And for Bitcoin, for me, I see it as such an amazing investment opportunity. This is not the technology. This is totally separate from the technology. But as an investment, I see it as really unique because it does two things. One, it's a hedge against the collapse of the financial system, and its price tends to go up over time. Or actually, its price always goes up over time. So because it has both those attributes, I see it as a superb investment. Now, if one of those were not true, my thesis would change. It would invalidate my thesis. I can get Bitcoin anytime. That's the wonderful thing about Bitcoin is you don't need to buy it now as a hedge against financial collapse. If, God forbid, the traditional financial system stopped working, you can get Bitcoin on demand. That's the wonderful thing about Bitcoin. It's permissionless. Anybody can access it. Anybody can use it, move it, trade it, sell it, use it. Also, there are a lot of things on Earth where the price can go up. So just because the price goes up is not, from an investment standpoint, reason enough for me to buy Bitcoin. Because the price goes up, but it also goes down. So I don't see Bitcoin as an investment unless those two things are true, and they are true, and they have been true. They've always been true. And you look back 11 years to today, it's always worked. It's based on math. Math doesn't change. Math doesn't change regardless of what's happening in the traditional financial system. And there's a ton of data science and just pure data, facts, and evidence that show very clearly Bitcoin's price goes up over time. I expect all those things to be true tomorrow and the next week and the week after and every week after that. So I invest in Bitcoin. Now, as far as the markets go right now, I would say I'm concerned. I'm not worried. Well, yeah, I'm a little worried, but I'm not worried about Bitcoin as an investment. I'm not worried about the thesis being invalidated. I'm worried about, over the shorter term, prices going down and people getting frustrated, sad, upset, and that's not good. We don't need that. Nobody should have that stress in their lives. And I think it's good to have a sense of perspective so we know what to expect. And for me, I created this chart on the 1st of March, I think. So the price was a little bit higher, but I made some pretty clear price levels for myself, which you can see right here. Okay. This is a chart of Bitcoin's price. You can see the price over time, right? Bring us to today, modern day. Now, when I looked at this chart, I looked at the price, I looked at some other data. For me, the 8,500 price was very important. If it's above 8,500, I'm not worried. Below 8,500, now I'm concerned, and the lower we go, the more worried I get. If we go below 5,400, Bitcoin is dead. In fact, that would invalidate the investment thesis. It would also destroy a whole bunch of data science models. So if we go that low, there's something seriously wrong. I don't expect it, but we have to consider it as a possibility. And now, why do I think that? Well, it's because of the way the price interacts with the lines that you see on this chart. This is the same chart as far as price goes, but I've put in some extra data. The first one you see is this top line here. This is the 150-day moving average. So this is an average of all Bitcoin's prices for about 5 months. And you package it into an algorithm that you can display on a chart. That's the 150-day. Whenever Bitcoin's price is above the 150-day, people tend to be really positive. The price goes up. You see this in the positivity of the tweets and the YouTube videos, Google searches, the trends, the tendencies. People tend to be very positive. And then when we go below the 50-day, the 150-day moving average, people tend to be a little more negative. So that gives you a sense of the sentiment around the market, so that you can kind of filter out the signal from the noise. You know, there's always reasons to be fearful. Look, I mean, you get ups and downs all the time, but it's these big shifts in sentiment and price that I really look at, and the 150-day helps illuminate that. This is, I would say, it's like these. When you look at this line, it's like the subconscious of the market. It's like that the thoughts and feelings and emotions that play out. And the reason that the 150-day is so important, even though it's a lagging indicator, it takes the 5 previous months, is because people are always lagging the markets. The price will move wherever it needs to go, whatever it wants, but people's minds are still going to be set in the recent past. It's just a psychological thing for humans. And the 150-day reveals that in terms of data. There's an old saying that the markets have short memories, humans have long memories. So today, at this point, that 150-day is pretty crucial. We want to stay above it. That way, if sentiment is positive, price tends to go up. But that's not where we're at. We're below it. We're below it. We're down here. So we just need to keep our eyes out. Now, eventually, this 150-day moving average will shift, and price will go back above it, and then sentiment will change. The price will tend to change, and the 150-day moving average will shift again, and then the price will go back under. And we just need to be cognizant of that, because sometimes there's a reason to worry, and sometimes there's not. Usually, there's no need to worry. Sometimes there is. This is a 200-week moving average, this line down here, and this is the most important line in crypto. This is the line in the sand. Bitcoin's price never goes below this line. And if you look back in history, this line always goes up. So if Bitcoin's price goes below that line, that's a big deal. That's never happened. And there's also some data science, I don't need to get into it here, that it basically corresponds and validates that that 200-week moving average is a really important line. So we tap it, we went up. It's fine. Hopefully we don't come back down, but we need to prepare ourselves for that. And these lines here, these are called Fibonacci retracement lines. And this is just something I use to kind of validate those other bigger moving averages, because price tends to shift momentum around these lines on the Fibonacci, what they call the Fibonacci. So when you see that this Fibonacci line is basically right on top of that 8,500 on the 150-day moving average, I would say that that validates and confirms that 8,500 is a pretty significant number. So let's look at today's chart. I want to have this orange line drawn here just to take a look and keep the big perspective. This is the price of Bitcoin going back to when we hit that 200-week moving average. That was the very bottom of that previous bear market. I put up this chart to give us some perspective on what's going on. People say we're in a bear market. People say, oh, we're crashing. People say, oh, this is terrible. Life is horrible. Bitcoin's going down, this and that. I want to focus on this idea of the bear market for a second. Right now, at this moment, there is no bear market. I drew this line to show you, okay? This is the price. It goes up, back down, up, and we keep going up, right? And we come back down, but now we're going up again, and then we're coming back down again. Well, we're still way above where we were before. Look at this. Like, you can follow this orange line as we go through time, and it keeps going up. The price is going up, it's still going up. Even if you connect this to the lowest points, right? And I mean, really, we should get down here, but you can even just connect it to the lowest points, and that includes right now. Look, we're still going up. This was higher than that one. This higher than back here. This higher than back here. So I don't see where people can justify saying it's a bear market. It's not a bull market. This is a bull market. This is the definition of a bull market. It's Bitcoin. Price goes crazy. Let me show you what's happened in the past. I'm going to pull up those moving averages that I told you about before. Okay, let's go look back in the past. Let's see. Get this on a nice view. Okay. Look at this. Bitcoin, you go back and you can see we did the same thing when we way back in 2015, right? Tap the lines. You can see that. I hope you can see that. The 200, tap those lines, and then we went up, and we never came back. Never came back down. It took us years to come back down. We didn't go straight up. We went up, crash, wiggle, crash, up, wiggle, up, crash, and it was like that the whole way through. And you see that 150-day moving average. We go up, we go down, we go up. Now, once we get into the full swing of things, and people are going like, really, oh my God, this is the big upswing. This is, oh my God, it's awesome, wonderful. Then we're still gonna hit it. We're still gonna tap every now and then. Now, hopefully we go back up. That's what we're really looking for. And that's why that 150-day that I was talking about was so important. Like this whole ride up from 2015 upward, we barely tapped the 150. We did it for like a day or 2 days. 1 or 2 days we went under. And then we kept zooming and zooming and zooming until we broke again. And then we went to a huge bear market. So we want to be really careful about it. Look, we just broke, I mean, there's no two ways about it. We just broke that 150-day moving average. We broke it, and we broke it hard. Now, this happens all the time. Sometimes we break it. We kind of, it's not so cool for a little while. This is a few months where it's not that great, and then we come back up. Let's see if that happens this time. We may be sitting here next week, and we're back above the 150-day moving average. But it's significant, so we keep our eyes peeled. Worry a little bit. Don't lose sleep. Just be conscious. And as always, relax and enjoy the ride.